We want to talk to you guys about ways to improve all areas of your life so that you don't have those issues. And I can tell you that when you have more money coming in than you are required to put out, you can find that there is way more ways that you can adjust your budget where you got a shit ton of money to do whatever you want to do. And that's one of the reasons why we talk to you guys every week about budgeting, relationships, negotiation, networking, everything that you need to make yourselves higher valued individuals. And then we have on Sunday questions and comments from the fans. So if you have a question, we have a comment, plain and simple. And or we have a response, we have a guiding light. You can throw comments in the comment section after the show, whatever the case may be. But we will get you where you need to be. All you got to do is just come to the show and talk to us. With that being said, I want to go ahead and get started with uh, uh, the things that every man must learn from the mistakes of their ex. Because for years, I want you guys to understand this. Many romantic histories have felt like graveyards, collections of failed relationships that just builds up over your life. So the earlier you start dating, the more exes you have. Sometimes you don't really define them as full on relationships. Like we were quote unquote just talking and now we're not talking anymore. The the younger you start just talking to people, the more no longer talking to people scenarios that you have. Okay. Look, every ending, every goodbye just seems to confirm that something is fundamentally wrong in the situation, but people more often than not think that it's them. Some people even believe that they are unlovable, unfixable, that they are the one that's broken. Some people are going to see their past as a museum of everything that went wrong, a series of closed doors that they tried their best to lock and forget. Those are the skeletons in their closet that they don't want anybody to know about. And I don't understand why it is, but truth be told, a lot of people find themselves embarrassed about their ex. Not necessarily. Sometimes it's because you picked the wrong person. You know you picked the wrong person. You tried to make it work. It failed. And now that you have improved yourself, you are looking at the bad choice that you had made in the past, and you are embarrassed about the decisions that you used to make because now that you look at that individual, you know that that should have never happened. Skeletons in the closet, right? Well, what if I told you that a decade of what we used to call failure, a decade of heartbreak, could teach you more about real love than any successful relationship ever could? I tell you guys on a regular basis, the fact is just that, and I have this debate with a lot of people in our society when we can't win the argument with facts, when we cannot win the argument with logic and reason. And even if it's not an argument, even if it's a debate, even if it's a heated discussion, however you want to word it, when we can't get the mic drop moment because somebody else just has a little bit more information than we do, or they're just not convincible. The first thing we do is we see people throw down credentials, how many years they've been doing this as a career, how many degrees they have, or if they don't have any credentials, they try to devalue you, not the facts that you put out. They try to devalue you as if, well, do you have a degree in this? Did you learn this from somewhere? Have you been doing this for a living? To make it seem like, well, if you don't have the specialist backing, that you're not qualified to declare facts that are facts, and that's not the case. How you doing? Special shout out. I can't tell what that is. Phil, we're gonna call you Phil. Good to see you, buddy. And one of the things that we have to realize is that in these situations, if you talk to somebody who's been divorced 4 times, that person can give you more information about how not to get divorced. If you're talking to a junkie, if you're talking to an addict, they can give you more reasons why you should not start using drugs. They can give you more ways to stop using drugs. An alcoholic can give you all the reasons why you shouldn't start drinking alcohol. They can tell you all the reasons, all the ways that you can go about stop drinking. The gambler can tell you all the reasons why it is not a good idea to gamble. People who have made excessive quantities of mistakes in their life are the perfect individuals to tell you what not to do. And they know because they did it and it didn't end well for them. And this is why when you're looking at your failed relationships, when you're looking at your failed marriages, you are able to look back at those and actually learn something from them. What if those endings weren't failures at all? What if they were the most important, profound, and unexpected lessons of your life? The brutal, beautiful education that you need to finally find a deep and lasting connection, not just with someone else, but with yourself. If you've ever looked at your own past with that sting of shame or regret, thinking, what did I do wrong? Then this is for you. We're going to dismantle the story piece by painful piece. And we're going to look into the heart of those endings and find the wisdom that's been waiting for me and you all this time. Because your past isn't a liability, it's supposed to be a roadmap. And those so called failures are about to become your greatest strengths, not just speed bumps along the way. First things first, we have to completely tear down and rebuild our definition of success. Success in love is not what you think. Since we were kids, we've been sold one specific story. It's in every movie, every fairy tale, and every song. Success is forever. It's a straight line. You meet someone, you fall in love, you commit, you live happily ever after. The end. Anything that deviates from that path, a breakup, a divorce, a connection that just runs its course, gets branded as a failure. But that's a fundamentally flawed, honestly, cruel way to look at human connections. It's like saying the only successful part of a beautiful song is the final note. It completely ignores the music, the highs, the lows, the tension, and the release that happens along the way. Relationships aren't a pass or fail test, they're experiences, they're assignments. They are chances to grow. The pain of an ending makes us believe we've lost something. And you fundamentally feel lost. A lot of times people go through separation anxiety. And in a way, we have lost something. We've lost a future we've pictured in our heads. But what we gain, if we're willing to look, is so much more valuable. We get feedback, we get insight, we get a mirror held up to the parts of ourselves that need our attention the most. The end of a relationship doesn't mean you failed at love. It often means you're being called to a deeper level of self love and understanding. So let's start digging. Let's find the unexpected treasures buried in your past. One of our first big relationships ended not with a bang, but with a slow, confusing fizzle. I know we've all had one of those. There wasn't some huge betrayal or a big screaming match. I'm going to be honest with you. Some people want to end their relationship in a big screaming match. breaking stuff, storming out, or they want to break stuff and scream and be thrown out so that there is a chaotic moment that defines the ending of the relationship. But a lot of times, the relationship is over long before either person realizes. And a lot of times, people can't point to one single thing and say, that was it. That's what broke us. A lot of times, people are in a situation where they're both good people who loved each other, but their paths were splitting. Sometimes this happens where one person is improving and evolving, the other person is good where they are. One person is getting promotions on their job and now they're being offered the opportunity to start in a different branch of the company that's in a different state or in a different country. Now they have a choice: continue to further their career or stay with their partner. Some people abandon their career, which leads to resentment with their partner, and that never goes away. And some people chase their career with their partner, where their partner has resentment for uprooting the lifestyle that they were content with, and that never goes away. Then there's the third option where they just break up and go their separate ways. You find that you guys are changing. Your dreams are getting bigger, and your world is expanding in ways that the other person just wasn't, which is one of the reasons why it's so hard, especially for men. And I understand, ladies, I'm not taking shots at y'all. This is a about 55% male driven podcast from the male's perspective because we got a lot of ladies coming to the show recently. But ladies, y'all gotta understand, y'all select the men that y'all believe are better than you. Ladies, y'all will not accept a man that performs less than you're capable of performing in your life. This means that as long as you thrive or strive to improve yourself beyond the man that you just found, if you're good where you are and he's not good where he's trying to be, where he didn't reach his level yet, those men have a problem. Because while you're still a good girl, he's supposed to date down while still moving up. And you're not willing to move up with him. Women don't have that much of a problem. Because if a woman finds a man that is above her status, because that's what she chose, not because women are less than men, she can chase his status and then pass him right the hell up. They can work together. She can move him up and he can move her up and vice versa. She's not going to find one and deliberately grab one that is beneath her and chase the high road and drag him with her. That's not going to happen. And he ain't keeping up. He gets left in the dust. I don't blame you, but you have to understand that if you are chasing bigger things, we all have experienced this in our lives. Where we are in life right now, we try to find somebody that's on our level, but we are not satisfied with who we are. So we settle for less than what we deserve as we strive to be better than who we are. And that is where our biggest mistake comes from. And for months, we're going to fight about it. We're going to try to shrink ourselves down to fit into the relationship that we built with the person that was not where we want to be at in life. We're going to feel an immense pressure to make it work at all costs. And men, more often than not, put themselves in this position to make it work. This isn't a roller coaster ride that we just enjoy. I know women are going to be upset about this, but ladies, If y'all were required to pay for the relationship and support the man from the time that you met him until the time that you died, y'all would be putting in as much effort into this relationship as men do. Not saying that you don't put in effort, but your ability to abandon ship is a lot easier because you're not financially invested in it. You have no assets involved. You have nothing to lose. If you leave your man is not going to take half of your estate. Your man is not going to put you on child support and throw you into alimony unless you make more money than him. These days, with the laws not being gender exclusive, you'll see that happen. If you're making 60% more than him, they might actually hit you with some alimony. But the thing is, the average relationship, the man makes 20% more than the women because that's the man she chose. So when a relationship falls apart, she takes whatever she wants and she leaves. The relationship is maintained by expectation by the guy. He has to build this environment to convince her to stay in it. She does not have investment in that type of environment because his whole goal is to convince her to stay. She's not trying to convince him to let her stay. So she can leave whenever she wants and take all the benefits with her. And a lot of people feel like that's what you're supposed to do, right? You fight. You as a guy, you're expected to fight for your woman. I gotta tell you, I was raised from small. You don't fight for no one. If she yours, you defend her honor and you defend her safety. But you should not have to fight now another man for a woman that's yours. If she don't want to stay there, all you're gonna do is exhaust your efforts and your resources to convince her to hang out long enough for you to go bankrupt, and she's still gonna leave. Because if she didn't want to go anywhere, you could have nothing, and she would have nothing with you. So there's no reason for you to fight for what's not yours. Because if she was yours, she wouldn't go anywhere. That's the reason why they say dogs are a man's best friend, because no matter how much you have and how much you don't have, if you get up and walk out the room, so will your dog. When you come back in the room, there's your dog. If you leave your dog at home and go to work, your dog is sitting there waiting on you to come back. If you lose your dog in society, your dog will try to find you. And when you find your dog's coming home with you. Your dog will not leave you for another person. That loyalty beyond all, that's why it's your dog. It's not a dog. It is your dog. That dog chose you the way you chose that dog. And unconditionally, that dog will stay there. In a relationship where that person is your person, unconditionally, that person will be there for you. Now, I know we use unconditionally in terminology, but you got to think about the fact that love is a choice. And to stay with somebody, no matter how they behave for 50 years, that is a choice. That is beyond loyalty. That is beyond duty. That is beyond dedication. That is a conscious choice. So you chose that person and the lifestyle that that person provides. Even if you're the breadwinner, whatever peace or chaos that that person brings to your life, that is the life that you chose to stay in. And it might take you years to understand the lesson hidden in that type of ending. Because when it finally ends, you're going to feel like a total failure, but you're going to learn something from it. Some relationships aren't meant for a lifetime. I actually had somebody tell me that once before. And the truth is, they were right. Some relationships are here for a season. They show up to teach you something specific, to help you grow into the next version of yourself. And then, when their work is done, the contract is fulfilled, the relationship is over. The idea goes completely against the forever love story. But that forever love story is the one that we're also attached to. We see things ending as a tragedy. But what if it's actually a gift? When you let go of the crushing pressure of the forever concept, something magical happens. You become present. You stop obsessing over where the relationship is going and you start appreciating the journey. You can love someone fully and deeply for the time that you have them without that dread that if it doesn't last forever, it was all for nothing. Because that's not necessarily the case. There are a lot of individuals, and most of the time you experience this in divorces, that even though y'all divorced and y'all don't spend a lot of time around each other, y'all still love each other. And you will sacrifice your current situation for your ex-husband or your ex-wife from 10 years ago divorce because y'all still love each other. Y'all just could not exist in the same relationship, but y'all have a lifelong bond after the divorce, after the emotional disarray subsides. So it's not for nothing. There was a reason. You cherish that reason, but you learn from it and move on. It's going to teach you that the endings doesn't erase the love that was there. And that relationship was a success, not because of how long it lasted, but because of what it taught you about your own needs to grow. These types of relationships are a beautiful, necessary chapter, not a failed book. So letting go of that forever concept and the rules that people attach to that forever lets you honor a connection for what it was and release it with gratitude when its season is over, instead of clinging on with fear, crawling back, begging them to stay with you. Unconditional surrender should not happen. This is one of the most freeing lessons a failed relationship can teach you. Love doesn't have to be eternal to be eternally valuable. Have you ever met someone and just clicked? On paper, they're perfect, right? You have the same weird sense of humor. You both love the same Sunday morning activities. Your values line up. Conversations is just easy. You think this is it. This is the one. We are so compatible, right? A lot of us have that experience. It might feel like our relationship was designed in a lab for optimum compatibility. Our friends saw it, family saw it, everyone agreed that we were perfect. Just the best things in sliced bread. And then it ended. It unravels slowly. And sometimes it's even painful, especially when you see it coming and you can't stop it for reasons that defy the logic of how compatible y'all were. The timing was off. They were ready to settle down in their hometown, and you might have this desperate urge to live abroad. You might find yourself questioning everything in your life, and the other person was in a place of comfortable certainty, despite how compatible y'all might have been. Your individual lives were just pulling y'all in opposite directions. It was a heartbreaking realization. Sometimes the right person can show up at the wrong time. That doesn't make them the wrong person. It just makes the relationship impossible in that moment. Truth be told, God, this is some of the reasons why the ladies circle back. Because if you are the one that they should have had, they're gonna try to see if they can keep you when you fix your shit. They ain't gonna help you fix your shit. But if you can fix your shit by the time they circle back, they'll give you another chance. And this is a lesson that shatters the perfect match fantasy, though. We're taught to believe that finding someone compatible is the finish line. Problem solved. But it isn't. Compatibility is just one ingredient in a super complex recipe. Life itself isn't a powerful, unpredictable force. People change, priorities shift, and circumstances evolve. A relationship is a living thing that exists in the messy, chaotic, real world, not in a perfect bubble. This is going to teach us to let go of the illusion of control. You can't checklist your way into a lifelong partnership, and you can't guarantee a future just because the present feels perfect. And this lesson forces you to accept the humbling truth that some things are just out of your hands. It's going to shift you from a rigid, it has to work out mindset to one of openness. And it teaches you that a connection can be profoundly right and still not work out. And that paradox is one of the most painful but important things to learn about love. It makes you more compassionate, more flexible, and less obsessed with a single fantasy of how your life is supposed to go. Make sure as you guys dive in that y'all like and subscribe and mash those reaction buttons. Now consider this. We all scroll through social media, and I've talked to you guys about social media and how social media negatively impacts modern relationships. Millennials are having so many opportunities for success in relationships and having so many failed relationships because of the abundance of accessibility. Relationships are becoming unstable because of insecurities with DMs. Relationships are becoming unstable because people are legitimately insecure about you hitting a heart button because you thought a picture looked okay in your eyes. Like it is a huge red flag these days. Back before the internet, if you saw a Polaroid from that Kodak moment phrase from back in the day, you know, oh, that looks good. That person looks attractive. He or she is cute. And that would be it. It would be considered a compliment. But now, if you hit that heart button, if you hit that thumbs up button on that photo on social media, oh, you cheating. It's a completely different atmosphere. So while we're scrolling through social media now and we're seeing the filtered photos of couples on vacation together, the gushing captions about a perfect partner, and the highlight reels that show none of the struggle, none of the fights in between photos, none of the arguments, the fact that one of them drugged the other one over to take the photo, forced them to smile before they took the picture, and then after the picture was over, they probably went their separate ways. None of that happens. The scenario where they beg their partner to come over and join into that TikTok video with them, the forcing them, the arguing and the fussing and forcing them to get in there and participate in the and keep doing it till you get it right. And then the right one, the one that they like the most, they put that one up on social media. That's the one that we see, right? But this creates this unspoken pressure that real love is supposed to be neat and tidy, mostly conflict free. Not gonna happen. Any messiness, any real conflict can feel like a sign that your relationship is broken, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. Special shout out to Michael. He's back tonight. Good to see you. And the long haul, man. He said first about dating a guy. If he has no money, don't go after him. He's not going to show you the love you desire. I actually disagree with that, Mike. If you want the man for who he is, first of all, you should be doing stuff that don't cost him no money so that you can see what kind of person he is. It's not about whether or not he's going to open the door for you. It's about whether or not he's going to catch you if you trip. It's about whether or not he's going to let you hit your head on the table when you go to bend over to tie your shoe. It's about whether or not he's going to tie your shoe for you so you don't have to bend over to tie your shoe. It's about whether or not he's going to hold the stuff that you have that look heavy so that you don't got to carry nothing heavy. Whether or not he's going to cover you when you cold because he's cold, so he know you got to be cold because he got cold, he's shivering. You should not be shivering. if it's about to rain and he brought an umbrella that shows you he's prepared, and if he's gonna use the umbrella on you so that you don't get wet, that shows that he cares. He cares. All of the things that define a man as a good man does not cost a penny. It does not cost a penny. The greatest men in the world are broke as fuck. Nobody cares about that though. As Michael said, if he ain't got no money and he ain't spending no money on you, he ain't shit. But let's get over here and look at these rich folks, because I mean, how many women did Chris Brown beat up in a row? Not one girlfriend that he date did not get beat up. And he rich. What happened to one of them girls? Black eye, he got thrown down the flight of stairs. Come on now. Come on now. They got to get restraining orders on him. Even the internet, I'm gonna laugh. Take her on a date. But these are the things. So uh he said, "You broke." Oh, you damn right. You damn right, bro. I'm broke as fuck. I'm broke as fuck. But the thing is that the more money a person has, the more things a person is capable of doing. The more things a person is capable of doing, the more often that person is capable of corrupting other people. The more often a person is capable of corrupting other people, the less value that person has in people. The less value they have in people, the less value they're going to have in you. Going after a person that is excessively financially established, while it will give you financial stability if you're willing to put up with how they treat you, it does not mean they're going to value you. It just means that they can afford to make you not be mad at them. They can break your jaw and buy you a Porsche. Or the guy that can barely buy two plates of food will buy one plate of food, feed you, and go hungry. The fact is that you need to be paying attention to the character of the person, not the quantity of capital in their pocket. Because just as big of a heart as a man that has no money could be just as big of a heart as a man that has money. But the difference is that you won't know if he cares about you until you stop looking at his money. And so y'all like and subscribe and hit those reaction buttons. He said, "I'll take corruption over being broke." Well, as a man, Michael, I would take being corrupt and financially successful than to be broke and the noblest man on the face of the earth. But at the end of the day, though, if I had to deal with the difference between being broke and having a woman that valued me for who I am, and not being broke and being with a woman that was only with me because I had money, I would prefer to have the woman that wants me for who I am, because I can always not be broke, but I can never have the value from the woman that is only here for my money. That's a huge difference. And no matter how successful you are, there is a higher increase that you can lose it all than there is that you can gain. So you can go from being broke to being not broke, but you can go from being not broke to broke really fast. Bankruptcy is an all of a sudden thing, but financial success is a long grind of improvement. You would do better with somebody who's willing to be with you when you ain't got nothing. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that we try to make when we're trying to find somebody while we're down and out, where we're not satisfied with the status of living that we have. We try to find somebody that will stick with us now. And then we spend the rest of our life entertaining them instead of chasing that success. If we stuck to the guns and work to our success, the person that's willing to stay there when we ain't got nothing will be enthusiastic when we have something. That's the changes that we need to be making in our mentality. You will find that you once had a relationship that was the definition of messy. And you'll come to determine that while it was passionate and loving, It was also full of conflict. Everybody can remember at least one of those, if not five. You can remember that you had different attachment styles. One of y'all was anxious, the other one was avoidant, which created a painful push pull dynamic. It'll lead you to misunderstandings, unnecessary arguments, and long stretches of painful distance, awkward silence. No matter how much you tried, because you did try, you went to therapy, you read the books, you fought to understand each other. In the end, it didn't survive. And for a long time, you might look back on that relationship and determine it as just a toxic, messy failure and be embarrassed by it. You'll be embarrassed by the drama and you will feel ashamed of all the fights. He said, if he is asking her what she does for a living, how is trying to figure out how much money you make, he is scheming. Well, I love these devil's advocate statements, Michael. I can tell you, don't no man really give a shit what you do for a living. Before I continue with this, I'm gonna tell you right now, ladies, when a man asks you what you're doing for a living, he want to know how much time you got. He's not asking you what you're doing for a living because he's trying to count your salary. If you work in a full-time job that's got you doing 65, 70 hours a week, you ain't got no time for him. If you trying to be a CEO of a company, you ain't got no time for no relationship. If you trying to be a judge from law school, you ain't got no time for no family, no children, no nothing. If you striving to be on the board of a hospital, or you're trying to be the department surgeon, or you're trying to take on a job title that obligates you to inherently marry the company or the industry that you're trying to work for, you don't have the time to establish a fulfilling, committed relationship. Now, if you find the kind of partner that wants you to succeed in that and they're willing to be second place to your fondest dreams, they're willing to aid you in your ability to achieve that, those individuals will wait it out. But think about police officers. That job is a lifestyle. They are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when they're not at work. SWAT officers, Marines, they are working all the time. Some of their partners wait, some move on. What you do for a living asks how much time do you have. If I told you that I work the kind of job that pays for my standard of living, but I also have only 4 hours a day worth of work 5 days out of the week, that means I got all the time in the world. If I told you that I spent 10 hours a day, 7 days a week working, that means I have very little free time and no days off. So asking, when a man asks a woman what she does for a living, typically that's not the first question he asks. He usually asks that as a follow-up question because she asked him what he do for a living. But when he asks that, he's just trying to gauge how much free time he got. But see, now when a woman asks a man what he does for a living, she want to know he got money. She want to know he got stable income. She want to know if his occupation has prestige to it. Because if she don't like what he say about his choice of employment with the way he make money, he ain't interested. Just what he do for a living could be a deal breaker, even if it's an honest, legitimate source of income. But ain't no man gonna say, "Oh, you're a teacher. I ain't with it." Now, if you an OnlyFans worker, if you're a stripper, if you're an escort, if you're a call girl, if you're shot glass, something like that, a man might say, you know what, that's not my style. But that industry is like the only industry that a man's gonna say no. But a woman will say, "Oh, you work at a fast food restaurant? Not my type. But you got a stable job." When the government shut down, I went to work. He said, sorry, I thought he was broke. I didn't know he owned the bank. Okay, if she is asking you how much you make, what goes through your mind? When a female, thank you. Look, you answered your own question. When a female asks me what I do for a living, she a gold digger. That ain't true, but that's going through my mind. That's what's going through my mind. I have made it a point now that I am getting 25, 30, 40 year old cars that I'm going to drive places so that when I'm talking to a female, if I end up talking to a female, they going to see a hoop. We're interacting with one another. If she want to go somewhere in this jalopy, then we can roll to a nice car and then go somewhere nice. I'm legit. I'll be like, hey, we got to stop over here real quick. Get out of the beater and get into the nice one and go somewhere. I am not going somewhere where expensive, flashy, da 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 da. Oh, ride with me because I got this brand new 2025. Fuck it. Because if I'm showing off my assets, if I'm showing off my wealth, she's gonna become attracted to that wealth, and she's gonna make it a point to stick with me because of how much she think I got. Whatever I got, she's gonna think I got way more than that, even though that's not true. So if I'm gonna put on a facade that uh if I'm gonna put on a facade that I've got more than what I really have, she's gonna think that I got even more than that. Then when she comes and finds out what I really got, she's gonna walk away because she was deceived by the false representation of assets. But if I'm riding around in a jalopy, if I'm riding around in a 30-something-year-old car with 250,000 miles on it because that bitch still running, and then I decide, hey, let's take a trip, but we're not gonna take a trip in this car because this car ain't gonna make it. Let's go take the other one. We go take the other one. The other one is a 2025, $200,000 something or other. Oh shit, I didn't know you had that. You wasn't supposed to, but since we're taking a trip, see what I'm saying? You earned the right because you was willing to roll with me when my car looked like it needed a tow truck. That means that you're worth rolling with me when my car looked like it needs security. You understand? If you see me here in this suit and tie, you're like, okay, he look like he's successful. I'll rolls with him. Then when you go places with private jets and yachts and shit like that, it's like, he looked like he was running with that. So you know, yeah, when a woman asks me why everyone put on a mask, we're broke. People put on masks because of several reasons. It's not just because we're embarrassed of who we are or where we came from. It's because we want to fit into where we want to be. There's this long-standing expectation to fake it till you make it, to dress the part, to represent what you want to be acknowledged as until you actually get there. Do you want to be a politician? You carry yourself as a politician until you are a politician. You want to be a Fortune 500 employee? You work like a Fortune 500 employee until you become a Fortune 500 employee. You want management position? You behave like management material until you're promoted to management material. So people have in our society put on the mask of what we think success looks like until we have experienced that success. So poor people dress expensive to look rich, and rich people dress poor to not waste money. So when you spend all of that extra money to look rich, you're clearly identifying how broke you are. If you're pulling up in an expensive car, that's where all your money went. Because the folks that got it like that don't spend that much money on nothing, right? Didn't we say before that You don't buy it cash up front unless you got three times more than that on standby. So to be driving a $150,000 Porsche, you're probably going to have $250,000, $500,000 at least sitting somewhere. Because otherwise, why buy it? Why spend all of your life savings on a $150,000 car so that the first pothole, that bitch total? And now you got to start your life over saving for the second car. With time, you're going to realize that the messiness in your past relationships was where you are forged. That relationship, in all of its chaotic glory, was the real reason that you're experiencing true emotional education. It's going to be the first time that you are forced to look at your own attachment issues because you might find that you pulled yourself quickly into a toxic relationship, forced yourself to stay into it, forced the other person to stay in it with you because of an attachment issue. And while sometimes it was the first time, sometimes it's not the first time. And when you think and look back, like how the last 5 or 7 relationships you had probably started too quickly, got too deep too quickly, and ended abruptly. But once you put those pieces together, that's when you find out for the very first time in your evaluation of you, you learn what a boundary or non negotiable expectation even is. Because if you are constantly letting your non negotiable expectations be dismissed, letting boundaries be crossed, letting your expectations be walked on, it will teach you how to communicate under pressure, how to fight fairly, and eventually how to walk away from something that, despite the love, wasn't healthy for you. I was walking in a grocery store earlier today and I had a young man telling me about how he was working long hours, not as long as me though, but, but long hours. And he come back and tell me that he was up at 1 o'clock in the morning arguing with his girl and he had to be to work at 6. Fuck that mean. Because when you wind down from the argument, it's 2:30 and you've got to get up in 3 hours. It takes you 30 minutes to fall asleep from the time you lay in the bed. So if you stop with the bullshit at 1:45, you done laid down and started calming down. It's 2:30. You done gone to sleep at 3 o'clock. You got to get up and be at work at 6. You getting up at 5. What the hell? I told him, I said, young man, I said, because he told me he was 24. I said, young man, I said, look, I said, if she is a headache, she is not worth it. Now, a lot of women are gonna say that's misogynistic, but think about it. If she at your house, she know you got to go to work in the morning. Whatever y'all ain't agreeing on right now can wait until you get back from work or wait until you get your day off. She do not have to argue, fight, or belittle you in any way, shape, or form right now in the moment, knowing you got less than 5 hours before you got to get up and spend all day at work. Mutual respect amongst partners is that if you got something that is not going the way you want it to go, notate it, separate your emotions from it, address it. Remember, we keep saying at least once a week, have those state of the union meetings where y'all come together and talk about everything that's going wrong in the relationship. But that discussion should happen on your day off. That discussion should not happen at 2 o'clock in the morning when you got to go to work in the morning. No matter how much you value her, she has to value you. Especially if she expects you to be the provider of whatever she got going on, she cannot expect you to hash out confrontation in the middle of the night and still work a full-time job like you got a full night of sleep. That's not logical. The ideology is that she is supposed to be supportive of your ability to be successful so that you can take your success and share it with her because your successes should be because of her support. That is a symbiotic relationship. Since she is supporting your ability to be successful, your success is shared with her because she is the reason why you are successful. But if she is not the reason why you are successful, if she is the reason why you are stressed, then she is not worth your time. Now, any ladies on the channel, please correct me if you think that I'm wrong and explain to me outside of trying to call me misogynistic why that is not a factual assessment. The lesson here is that love is rarely going to be neat. Growth often comes from the most difficult and messy situations. We're taught to see conflict as a failure of connection, but what if it's just a sign that the two different worlds are trying to merge? What if it's an opportunity? The painful relationships wasn't a failure, it was a boot camp. And it's not that boyfriend boot camp where you girls be yoking you up by the collar and threatening your safety because you didn't do what she thought you was going to do. It's the kind of boot camp where you learn how you're supposed to behave and how you're supposed to expect people to behave and to learn how to correct them when they are not in line with the expected behavior. It's an accelerated course that's going to teach you more about your own needs and resilience more than an easy relationship ever can teach you. It's going to show you exactly what you was no longer willing to tolerate from a partner or from yourself, which will allow you going into your next relationship to have zero tolerance towards the bullshit. And that knowledge isn't failure, it's wisdom. So I'm going to tell you guys, well, as y'all keep coming through here, because I see a lot of y'all popping in, if any of this is starting to click for you, if you're starting to see the lessons in your own heartbreak, I want to invite you guys to join the community. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Make sure that you hit those follow buttons if you're on Twitter or Twitch. I'm going to explore these deeper, often uncomfortable truths about love and connection every single week because I believe this is the work that truly sets us free. So take a moment, hit that notification bell, like and subscribe, mash those reaction buttons because you're not just subscribing to a channel, you are making a commitment to a new way of seeing your life and your relationship. Your decision that your past will no longer be a source of shame, but a source of strength is going to benefit you. And I'm so glad that you guys are here, that you will be able to learn from veterans in the game because Michael here, 70 years old, we know what this is like. So let's get down to the next lesson. Selfishness. As y'all popping through here, y'all gonna see, we're gonna go through some stuff. Selfishness is one of the dirtiest words in the love language because we're taught that being a good partner means to be selfless, compromising, and putting the relationship needs before your own. To a magnitude, you are supposed to compromise because while unconditional surrender is unacceptable, unwillingness to negotiate is equally unacceptable. But you do still have to maintain certain standards of non negotiable expectations, specifically because if your core values are flexible, then you have no standard, which means that everything, including your non negotiables, are negotiable, and everything in your to-do list doesn't have to get done, which means that you're not being received, you're not being accepted. And while generosity in a partnership is a beautiful thing, a failed relationship can often teach us the vital lesson that sometimes being a little bit selfish is the most loving thing that you can do. He said he's laughing. I appreciate you laughing. I'm not leading nobody. Of course not. You old. In the kitchen. Well, see, you better than me. You better than me. He said, get in the kitchen and please make me a sandwich. I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I can't remember the last time I said please. Had that statement came out of my mouth instead of please, do you understand what I'm telling you? Not the same dialogue. He said, don't worry, it'll all work out. Oh, yeah, it's going to work out. You're going to be in the kitchen making me a sandwich, and it's going to be a hot sandwich, too. Ain't no please coming out, neither. It's going to be. So, in a long term relationship with someone we adore, we can find people that are kind, stable, and loving, and we can feel that love deeply. But you can find yourself restless. You can find this burning desire to quit your corporate job and chase a creative dream with no guarantees, and your partner being very reasonable, very valued, and having security might not be okay with that. They're ready for a mortgage, marriage, you know, and your desire to blow up your life for a dream felt reckless to your partner. For over a year, you guys might try to suppress that, but after you try to convince yourself that the other person's dream for a life could also be yours, you'll still find yourself in a position that you feel slowly suffocating. So the decision is going to be to end that relationship that was the most agonizing part of your life. And this is going to be called selfish because you're going to, believe it or not, chase your dreams, no matter how chaotic they might be. And while you're abandoning a good person, and a secure future for a whim, the guilt that is crushing you in that decision, you'll find that in a few years that you build a life that was truly yours. You realize that leaving wasn't selfish. It was an act of profound self-responsibility. Michael says she's not your servant. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you. Women have never been perceived by me as anything other than uniformly the same. I'm not going to say equal. I'm going to say uniformly the same. And the reason why we're not equal is because there's things that you can do that I can't, and there are things that I can do that you can't. And you rely on me to do the things that you can't do, and I rely on you to do the things that I can't do. You rely on me to do the things you don't want to do, and I rely on you to do the things that you don't want to do. So if I don't want to get me a sandwich, but I need a sandwich, and you know I need a sandwich, then you need to go in there and get me a sandwich. Because if you know that you don't feel like running that bubble bath, but your back hurts and your feet hurt, that no matter how much my back hurts, that I'm gonna run your bubble bath, rub your feet, and give you a back massage. So get your ass in the kitchen and make me a fucking sandwich. That's it. Uniformly the same. I'm going to serve it to you and cater to your needs the same way you're going to do the same for me, but it's uniformly the same. So when you try to make it seem like oh, she's not your servant, it's only servitude when it's one sided. It's not servitude when you treat each other the same way. So the same way I tell her go in there and make me something to eat, she might tell me to, you know, give her a back massage when I'm trying to sleep, and I'll do it. He said, nah, that's something. He said, just because you bought her a $25 pizza doesn't mean you're getting laid. Well, if I bought her a $25 pizza, she better be important because what I said, a bottle of water and the Snickers, that's like $4. So you talking about $21 above her pay grade. Like so you cooperate in relationships. That everybody's supposed to cooperate in a relationship. I have expectations that you're gonna follow, but you're gonna have expectations that I'm gonna follow. In the beginning of the relationship, the first handful of dates, 5 to 10 dates, I am supposed to be finding out from you what your expectations are for a man. The same way you Google online what the job description is before you apply for the job. Then, if you think you can handle those expectations, you apply for the job. Then, during the interview, you ask more questions about the job title that you applied for to make sure that you can handle what they're about to put you in. Once y'all agree on the pay scale versus the expectations, you start going to work. And then you realize that what they sold you in orientation is not what the hell you're doing, but you already committed. In a relationship, she is supposed to be finding out what I expect from a woman. And then she is supposed to decide if that's what she's willing to fuck with. And if it is, then she's going to sign up for that. So it's always supposed to be a cooperation in a relationship. This isn't an alpha male scenario. He said, I'm just going to enjoy her presence. Okay, that's good. You can enjoy her presence. But if there was a certain way that you wanted to be treated in your relationship, you're supposed to make sure that you articulate that so that your partner knows what he or she is supposed to do. And if there is a certain way that your partner wants to be treated in the relationship, they need to make sure that they articulate that so that you know what to do. If you're dating somebody for an extended period of time and you know that they don't like mushrooms on their pizza, you're not going to order a pizza with extra mushrooms. If you are dating a person that you know is allergic to peanuts, you are not going to have peanuts anywhere near your partner. If you know that your partner is allergic to dogs, you're not going to try to date a person that is allergic to dogs if you've got dogs. The fact is that you find out if, at least surface level, what they're looking for, you're willing to deal with. Then, on the flip side, while it's their responsibility to see what you are looking for, you need to make sure that they agree to what you are looking for. So while they need to be thinking for themselves, I could fuck with his expectations. If he tell me get in there, go get a sandwich, he ain't got to say please. I probably know what time he gonna eat. So I'm just gonna bring him some food so he ain't gotta tell me disrespectfully, get my ass in the kitchen, go get him something to eat. You gotta understand it works out. Yes, it just takes time. I'm not going to carry a list and have her check it off. Well, no, it's not necessarily a list. So think about this. I get more by not chasing it. Well, if you're not chasing women at all, the women are going to come to you, but at the same time, what you want them to do, you're going to state that, and then they're going to do it because they want to be in your presence, and you could care less if they're there. But likewise, women do the same thing. Women that have men, the women don't have the men chasing them. The men choose to chase the women. The women allow it to happen. She will declare her wants, needs, and desires, and he will do everything he can to accomplish that because he wants to be in her presence. So you have to understand there is a compromise when the relationships work. Now, when they're not, sometimes that compromise has started to phase. Here's the truth, though. You cannot be a good partner to another person if you have abandoned yourself. Staying in that relationship would mean killing off vital parts of your own spirit if you are allowing yourself to be second place to your relationship. Over time, that's going to turn your observation of your partner into resentment, and that would have become a bad situation because you would have become a shadow of your former self. And even though you are still the person that the other person fell in love with, your selfish act of choosing your own path in the long run is kinder to both you and your partner because it frees the other person from someone whose dreams lined up with them, and it allows you to become the person that you are meant to be. He says, what, you never had women chase after you? Of course. Having women that come to me. I've talked about this before because I remember I told you about the only woman that's drove my cars before. Um, because she was when I was fixing them. The fact is that I don't chase women anymore. It's a waste of time. Learned a lot over the years, you know. And yeah, they do still come, but a lot of the times I don't have time for that. I dismiss the engagement because I'm looking for something different somewhere else. I could be passing up fantastic opportunities, but I'm also paying attention to a greater goal. While I'm not where I would like to be at in life, even though I'm better than where I used to be, at the same time, I am looking for something on the level of where I expect to be. So whether or not a woman chases me or not is not going to change the fact that my expectation for her performance is going to be the same. The difference is I'm not going to do a song or a dance or convince her to stay, hang out, come and show up. He said, "Your age, sex is not important anymore." Sex is very important in relationships. There is a high level of expectation there, but at the same time, I'm not prioritizing that and saying, oh, all of your red flags are exempt because sex is good. That's not the case. As the difference between it's not because you say it's not important anymore. It's heavily important. It's heavily important, but at the same time, it is not so important that that red flags are exempt. That I'm going to live in conflict and I'm going to live in chaos. No, the it's number two on the list now. It's not off the list. It's number two on the list. Number one on the list is my peace. So cooperation is in my peace. No conflict is in my peace. You know what I'm saying? Teamwork is in my peace. So if red flags come up that interfere with my peace, the sex is not relevant because I'm not about to put up with this bullshit. I am not about to put up with chaos in order to get laid. It's not number one on your list. Hell no. Nah. It's number two. It's number two. But it is daily the number two because daily number one is peace. I can't tell you what the other five are because real technically it's number two and number three on the list. Like Fight Club, you're not supposed to talk about Fight Club. That's rule one and rule two. Yeah. In my age, sex is rule two and rule three, but rule one is my peace. That's where we are right now. Many of us are taught to be the caretakers of the relationships. A lot of men are tuned to being the caretakers of their relationship. But there are a lot of women that do a lot, at least with the first 5 or 10 men that they date, that they go all out catering to their man. The more relationship they get into, the less they give a shit about the man, and they're just there for whatever they can get. But throughout the life of a man, more often than not, we are the caretakers of the relationship, the one who's going to make those sacrifices, the one who's going to take one for the team, the one who's going to go the extra mile for their partner, the one who's going to do the grand gesture, even if it's a grand gesture to change a tire. Like your car's got to blow up, you've got to be shot at by 1,000 people, you crawl there covered in blood, you change that tire, and because you went through hell to get there, she's supposed to appreciate the fact that you changed the tire. I ain't got no time for that shit. If I showed up instead of AAA to change your damn tire, you just appreciate the fact that I got it, because I could have left your ass out there, figuring it out for yourself. But with all the sacrifices that we make for our relationship, which is an issue, because men make sacrifices to prove their worth. Men make sacrifices to prove their loyalty. Men make sacrifices to prove their honesty. But if a man asks a woman to do the same, he's misogynistic, he's controlling, he's belittling. And I have a concern about that because if I've got to delete my social media profiles and block all the women that I talk to so that you can feel comfortable about yourself, you should be able to delete your social media profiles, block all the men that you talk to, and put on a longer dress instead of showing a crack of your ass. Mutual respect. He said every girl needs to know how to change a tire. Every girl needs to know how to change oil, change a tire, change the serpentine belt, change the brakes, change the CV axle, replace the headlights, tail lights, dome light inside of the car, door handles, especially the door handles with the way they be slamming them damn doors. The ignition on the car, they need to know how to do some stuff. These females need to be more capable than the men these days. They need to know how to get it done. And the reason why they need to know how to get it done is because of this equality bullshit. I'm a man of uniformity. This equality bullshit, she should be able to be standing next to him, holding the tire while he's putting the damn screws on the car. It should be a team effort. You're not supposed to be standing here holding the flashlight while I'm laying in the mud in the rain trying to put the tire on by my damn self. We should both be in the mud putting this damn tire on the car because we supposed to be in this together. Whatever she expects him to do, she's supposed to be able to do it with him. Because again, a man that is on your level is a man that can do for you what you can do for yourself. So if you can change your own fucking tire and he came to change your tire, you should help him change your tire. And then appreciate the fact that he showed up. Mutual respect. A breakup that happens because you chose yourself, your career, your mental health, your growth is a powerful lesson in self worth. It teaches you that your needs are not an inconvenience. They are your responsibility. It dismantles codependency, excessive codependency, because relationships are a bit codependent. You depend on your partner to cover your slack. Your partner depends on you to cover their slack. And it teaches you that the most important relationship that you'll ever have is the one with yourself. Sometimes a relationship fails because you are finally succeeding at loving yourself enough to say that I choose me. After a real devastating breakup, you might become obsessed with getting over it. You might read all the articles, learn about the 5 stages of grief, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And you might try to track your progress like a project manager. You might have a good week and think, okay, I'm moving from anger into bargaining. I'm on schedule. Then out of nowhere, a song on the radio come on, and you be right back in the thick of feeling like the progress has gone nowhere. You'll find yourself convinced that you failed to heal. Ask yourself why. Why wasn't you capable of moving forward in a straight line? We're often sold this idea that healing is linear, like climbing a mountain until you reach the peak of the acceptance. And then you assume that you're done. You get closure and you move on. All better. I can tell you right now, most breakups are incomplete. And they're not just incomplete, they're deliberately incomplete. You have to go back to your ex and get your things several weeks after y'all broke up? Why the fuck you ain't take that shit with you when you left? Because you wasn't done in this relationship. You physically left, but you wasn't emotionally done in this relationship. And getting your things is the last opportunity of closure, the acceptance conversation, the this is never gonna work out conversation, the final nail in the coffin conversation, the burial of the relationship is getting your things. And if getting your things is chaos, all the more reason why you left. But if getting your things is peaceful, there's going to be an adult conversation there that leads you guys to the acceptance that this is truly over. And that is when the emotional detachment begins. But the sudden stop of the relationship, oh no, closure doesn't happen for a while because your things are still over there. But if you were truly done in that relationship, when you walked out the door, whatever the fuck you left with, you wasn't planning on coming back for that. It's just an excuse to come back. I'm gonna be real with you. You should have so much stuff from your ex in your house because didn't nobody come back for their shit because they was done, they was done. And if you holding on to it because it's useful, it's not because you clinging to the past, it's because that shit is useful. But if you find an emotional attachment to the stuff that's in your house that belongs to your ex, that's the stuff you need to be getting rid of. And when your next one come into the house and they see all of these nice things in the house, the one thing you should never say is, "Oh, that's from my ex," because that's a red flag right there. What many of your heartbreaks will teach you is that once and for all, finite behavior is a total myth. Healing is not a straight line, it's a spiral. And we typically identify the first few days, first few weeks as spiraling. You will circle back to the same feelings, the sadness, the anger, the confusion, again and again and again. But here's the key difference each time you return, you're on a higher level of the spiral. You're revisiting the old wound, but with new wisdom, new perspectives, and new strengths. You'll still have moments where you feel a pang of sadness for a love that ended a decade ago. In the past, you would have seen that as a sign that you're still broken. Now, you're going to see it for what it is, a gentle echo. It's your heart reminding you of a connection that actually mattered to you, even if it was a long time ago in the past. It doesn't mean you want to go back to that person. It doesn't mean that you're not happy now. It just means that love was real and so was the loss. Burn, right? This lesson teaches you to be patient and compassionate with yourself. So don't rush into your next one after you got out of your last. But there is no finish line. There is no closure where you tie a neat bow on a painful package and it's done. There is only integration. You don't get over the loss. You learn to live with it. You cope with it. You integrate the lesson, the love, and the pain into the fabric of who you are today. The grief becomes part of your story and your strength. The trials and tribulations of the underdog, in order for them to see the promised land, the trials and tribulations of the conflicts in life that you survive, that you thrive through. And then when you have met your match, when you have reached your goal, when you have finally gotten to the celebration point, the story that you tell, the sage wisdom that you teach, is about what you had to go through to get here. In order for you to be a wise man and tell a young man how to navigate past chaotic relationships, your ass had to go through a bunch of chaotic relationships. So letting go of the myth of a linear healing frees you from the pressure of your own expectations and allows you to honor the messy, deeply human process of mending a broken heart. Now, our culture is a very black and white culture about relationships. You're either in a committed, defined partnership or you're nothing. A lot of times we try to reclassify them situationships, friends with benefits, hookups, uh, and now the kids are using new lingo for it, but it's all redefining the same thing. You're connected to this person either exclusively or broadly, and the almost relationships, the short-term flings, the connections that hang out in the gray area, these are often dismissed as insignificant or as failures to launch. We're taught that only the connections that fit into a neat labeled box have any value. That's not true. You'll spend your early 20s collecting these non relationships. If you calculate all of the non relationships you had before your actual relationships, all the non relationships you had in between your actual relationships, you'll come to find out you've been through a lot. You'll find that there was a person that you connected with deeply for 3 intense weeks while traveling, or there was a friend where there was always a simmering romantic tension that never quite became a relationship, or there was a situationship that lasted for 6 months, full of intimacy but lacked a clear commitment for a long, long time. And you'll look at these experiences with shame. They felt like proof that you couldn't lock down a real relationship. But the lesson that you learned now is that the spectrum of love is very vast. And every connection, no matter how short or undefined, has value. Those almost and maybes were not failures. They were incredibly precise teachers. The 3 week travel romance might teach you that you're capable of a vulnerability that you never thought possible. The friend with unspoken tension taught you about the pain of unexpressed feelings and the need for clear communication. Some of you who might have been cheaters in your younger years might have gotten into a relationship with a person that you could have cheated on and proven your loyalty, proven your dedication to a relationship, proving to yourself that you can commit to one person. And that might have been all that relationship was about for you. The 6 month situationship was a masterclass in your attachment patterns, showing you how you'd sacrifice your needs for clarity just for crumbs of affection. Each of these connections, which you might have written off before, actually could give you crucial pieces of the puzzle that is you. They were low stakes learning labs because they didn't carry the weight of a real relationship. You can see your own patterns more clearly now. Back then, they weren't failures to launch, they were successful short term courses in the university of your own heart. So, this lesson challenges the all or nothing view of love. Not every person you connect with is meant to be your partner. Some are mirrors, some are catalysts, and some are just beautiful, fleeting moments. When you stop judging these connections by the rigid standards of a successful relationship, you can start to appreciate them for the unique and valuable lessons they come to teach you. If there's one thing we're all taught, it's that pain is bad. It's something to avoid, numb, or get over as fast as possible. In relationships, heartbreak is seen as the ultimate negative outcome. It's the enemy. We see it as a sign of failure, a wound we have to heal from so we can get back to being pain free. But the most profound lesson that our failed relationships will teach us is this: pain is not the enemy, pain is the teacher. Heartbreak is not a detour from your path, it is the path. It's a portal to the deepest parts of yourself. Think about it. When you're happy and comfortable in a relationship, you don't have much reason to do deep introspective work. Why would you? Everything's fine. But when your heart is shattered, when you're brought to your knees by loss, you have no choice but to look inward. The pain acts like a powerful spotlight, shining on all the dark corners of your inner world you've been successfully avoiding. You got to think about this. When you are on an undefeated streak, you're not trying to find new ways to win. You've got the way that you've always won. When you are constantly losing, the anger, the frustration, the despair, and the desire to win all come together to have you think of different ways, train in different ways, practice with different people until you have found new ways to win. But you only get better because of each loss that you've experienced. It's in the depths of that pain that you're forced to confront your core wounds, your fear of abandonment, your feelings of unworthiness, your codependent patterns. The pain is what makes you finally ask the hard question: why did I feel like that? Why was I so afraid to be alone? What part of me was I hoping that person would fix? Because you got to understand, a lot of the times, some of us have a void in our life that we want to fill with this person. The desperation to find a person that fills a void. You have to understand that, like a black hole, a void in your life cannot be filled with anything. That person is being expected to overwhelmingly achieve the impossible and the unexpected, unrealistic expectations about this is that you will be frustrated with that person because they didn't fill your void. That person will be frustrated because you were not happy with their existence. They can't do anything, enough of anything, that changes your non happiness to happiness. You got with this person so that they could, quote unquote, make you happy. And now that you're with that person, you're not happy. You're mad at them because you didn't fix yourself, and they're mad at you because they're here and you're depressed about it. Think about it. Most of our painful breakups felt like it was going to end us. The grief was a physical thing, but that pain was the catalyst for everything that came next. It's going to drive us to therapy if we actually put it forth the effort to go get it. It'll force us to build a life for ourselves by ourselves. It'll make us confront the deep seated belief that we needed a partner to be whole. That pain burned away everything that wasn't who we were, leaving behind someone stronger and more self aware. So, embracing pain as a teacher is the ultimate reframe. It's not about romanticizing suffering. It's about understanding that when it shows up, it comes bearing a gift. Instead of asking, how can I make this pain go away, the question becomes, what is the pain here to teach me? When you can sit with your heartbreak and listen to its wisdom, you transform it from a destructive force into a very fuel for your growth. The failure becomes foundation. From a young age, we're handed an invisible blueprint for how life and love should unfold. It looks something like this. Get good grades, go to college, get a job, meet the one, date for a bit, get engaged, get married, buy a house, have 2 to 3 kids, and live happily ever after. And this blueprint, the straight path to happiness. And every time a relationship ends, every time you take a detour from that path, it feels like you're failing at life. But here is the final lesson that all the others lead to. Every failed relationship is an opportunity to burn that blueprint. Each heartbreak is a sledgehammer to the rigid structure of expectations that you built. The relationship that ended because of in performance teaches you that forever isn't the only measure of success. The one that ended despite perfect compatibility will teach you that you can't control everything. The messy one will teach you that perfection is an illusion. The one you left to be selfish taught you the importance of choosing yourself. With each ending, a piece of that false one size fits all blueprint is shattered and added. First, this is going to be terrifying. You're left standing in the rubble with no map at all. But then you'll realize something extraordinary. You get to build your own. You get to design a life and a vision of love based not on outside rules, but on your own inner values. You get to decide what success means to you. Maybe for you, success is a series of deep, meaningful connections that last for a season. Maybe it's a partner that doesn't look traditional. Maybe it's a period of joy and solitude where you become your own primary partner. Failed relationships force you to move from a rule based approach to love to a value based one. I have to stop and think about that for a minute. From a rule based approach to love to a value based approach. You stop asking, am I doing this right? And you start asking, does this feel right? Is this aligned with who I am? Is this leading to more growth, authenticity, and love in my life? This is the ultimate gift of your romantic past. It has systemically dismantled every false belief you had about love, leaving you with the raw materials, the wisdom, the resilience, the self awareness to build something true. So if you stayed with me this long, I imagine you can feel that shift starting to happen. And the old story of failure is starting to crumble. And in its place, a new one is emerging, a story of resilience and wisdom and self discovery. So your past is not a graveyard, it's a training ground. Every tear you cried, every painful goodbye, it was all part of a curriculum designed just for you. These experiences weren't random punishments, they were lessons. They were preparing you, they were sharpening your vision so you could recognize real, healthy love when it arrived. They were strengthening your heart so you would be capable of sustaining it. The person you are today, stronger, wiser, more compassionate, was forged in the fires of those endings. You are not damaged goods. You are a graduate of one of life's most difficult and important courses. You've learned that love isn't about finding someone to complete you, but about becoming so whole in yourself that you can meet another whole person in a space of shared freedom. So I invite you to look back at your past, not with shame, but with a sense of reverence. Thank every person who was part of your journey, even and especially the ones who broke your heart. They were your biggest teachers. They helped you become the person who is now finally ready for the love you were seeking all along. So if this message helped you see your own story in a new light, please share it with someone who might need to hear it today. And for more talks on conscious relationships and personal growth, make sure that you subscribe. Let's keep burning the old blueprints and building new ones, more authentic ways to love together. Then we can start doing the courageous work. I want to start off by thanking you guys for coming to tonight's show. Ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, you got to keep asking your ladies to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, I gave you this information to help you guys become higher value men. So, if you take this information, you can utilize it to improve your personal life as well as your business life. And, ladies, this podcast is not a red pill, blue pill, black pill podcast. Y'all can take this information, utilize it for yourselves to help yourselves become higher value men. If you find things in your life that are inside your control that you can change and you proactively put forth the effort to change it, you will have a better way to go in life. There's nothing in your life that you dislike that is beyond your control to improve. Where certain things that you can navigate around, like local government, and certain things you can proactively manage, like your relationships, whether it's relationships with your family, romantic partners, or best friends, or your kids. But you should put forth the effort to make your life as happy as you possibly can. And sometimes you have to change the roster, but a lot of times you have to negotiate. You have to compromise. But you're compromising not on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior, but out of 100% of the things you expect, 80% of the things you will not flex on. The other 20% is negotiable. And you find the person that meets that 80% or more, and you negotiate the rest. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity. That's respects my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.